Hi, in this video I have the Big Knob by Mackie and it has a fault. Here is the audio controller, and when I increase the volume or decrease the volume, I found that the audio is only coming out of the one speaker, and sometimes it's both and sometimes it's the left, sometimes it's the right. So what's happened is there's some dirt or there has been some oxidation which has occurred here at this potentiometer on the inside. So when I increase the volume, sometimes I also get a scratchy sound, so it'll go as I play around with the volume. And the worst part is that the volume is only in the left or in the right, and that is inconsistent. For example, I'll demonstrate it. Right, so we can see the dancing light. It's in the left and the right speaker, but if I show you with the microphone, so in that case, it's only on the left and there's nothing on the right. And in order to get it into both speakers, I have to kind of fiddle with this knob. So obviously it's gotten dirty, and I'm going to demonstrate how to repair this big knob. The other problem is this USB button is a bit sticky. Notice that I've depressed it and now it's come up. But look, I'm pressing it and it's not latching. As you can see, look at that. It doesn't latch. I have to kind of fiddle. Even then, it's not latching. It's like it's stuck. I have to pull it all the way up. As you can see, this is quite dusty, and this is quite a dusty environment. So I'm going to clean this thing up and show you the repair of that button as well as the knob. Before I begin, I unplug everything. There's no power supplied to the unit. Right, there are screws all along the sides and 6 screws at the back. Right, once I've removed those screws, I can slide off the back cover. All right, just having a look inside, one can see the dust that has built up. All right, so I need to get access to this board at the back. So unfortunately, it requires me to remove this board. So I'll remove these 2 screws, which will allow me to remove this board. I will have to remove this knob and all of these knobs. So I'm going to start by removing the things on the top. So all I do is I pinch it and pull it. Pinch and pull. So that's all I'm doing. Pinch and pull. Unfortunately, to get this big knob off, I have to use an Allen key, which is a size 1.5, and then I rotate it. I don't have to rotate it all the way out. I just need to loosen it. So there the big knob comes out. And this is the 1.5mm hex key that I used. Now there is a retaining nut on this potentiometer, so I just need to release it with a pair of long nose pliers. I just need to turn it, and it's not very tight. Now I can rotate this by hand. Right, so there's a nut and a washer. But as stated, I'll first have to make space, so I'll need to remove this board on the side here. So that board is now out of the way. There is this cable which I will just release so that I've got some space. And then there's a cable on the side there I'm releasing, so that cable has been unplugged. Then there's this plug over here which I'm releasing. Then there's a cable here in the middle which I'm releasing. Then there's a cable over here. I'm just going to release it. And one more at the back. Okay, so everything that was plugged into that board has now been removed, and now I just need to unscrew 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 screws. Wow. At this point, it's probably better to use a manual screwdriver just in case your automatic screwdriver falls off and damages the circuit board. But I do have a trained hand, so I'm just going to continue with my automatic screwdriver. And unfortunately, I am blocked by this board over here, so I will have to release this board. Alright, so it's just 2 nuts on the front, and then I can release this board first. Right, now I have access to this. I'm pulling it out. Right, here's the board. Now just a note, when I did pull it out, I tried to pull it out straight first before I angled it, and the reason being is that I wanted to clear these posts. As you can see, these posts are quite tall. Right, so this is the board that needs some cleaning. Alright, the first problem is this potentiometer is crackling. Right, for those of you who are unsure what that is, it's a variable resistor. So there inside, I'm opening a potentiometer or a variable resistor, and notice there's a moving part and there's a track. And what happens is between these 2 terminals or these 2 terminals, we get a varying of the resistance, which is what varies the volume. So as I rotate this, it moves along this carbon track, either increasing the resistance or decreasing the resistance. And when sediment or dirt or there's oxidation that takes place here, or if there's dirt or dust on the surface, we start getting that poor connectivity and that crackling. So all one needs to do is spray with just a tiny bit, just like a drop. As you can see, I've just put a drop there, and that will remove the oxidation and clean the part and the moving parts. If yours is very dusty, it's always a good idea to just blow it out with a blower to remove any excess dust. Right, so when it comes to this unit, that's exactly what I'm going to do. Now this also has this sluggish switch. As you can see, when I look at that, it doesn't want to click up properly, and it's actually all of these. So I'm just removing these little covers here, and I just pinch it. There's two clips on the side. I'm just removing these little covers. You can also just help it at the back by just squeezing them together. So I'm just removing those covers. And very important is not to mix up the orders. It's channel 1, 2, 3, 4 USB. So I'm just pulling these off. All right, so what I'm checking now is whether it's the switch that's dirty, or maybe there was something in here, maybe some dirt got in here. But look at this, this is completely free. There's no dirt in here that moves freely. That is telling me that we got a problem with the switch. So I'm going to check the switch now. Look, it's not even coming out all the way. So I've got dirt in here, probably some dust, and I've got to clean these switches. And here is the volume control, and there's a little opening where I can insert my spray. All right, I'm going to use this Contact 60 contact cleaner. There are many products on the market. This is not a product placement. I've been using this product for over 20 years, and I use it because it works. But there are lots of products that do similar things. So all I'm saying is use a contact cleaner. So I'm first just taking my blower and blowing it out here. All right, so on this unit, there's the opening. So I just put a drop inside there. I don't have to put a lot, just 1 or 2 drops. And then I rotate this, and it has actually loosened up a bit. I rotate all the way left, all the way right. So now I'm moving on to the switches. Now I'm going to just spray a drop inside there, and there it's on the surface. And now I depress this and release it several times. So I'm pressing and releasing the switch. And I'll put a little bit more wherever I can see the opening. Right, so it's gone inside there, and I just press release, press release. All right, so let's just compare the sprayed one to the old one. So look at that. Press in, press out. Now this one has not been repaired yet. Look at that. Press out, sluggish. Wow, look at this one. Perfect. All right, so that's all I need to do. Just put some of the contact cleaner on the surface here, or get it inside there, and then go crazy. Okay, now because I have this whole unit open and these have had this damage, I'm just going to put some contact cleaner on all the moving parts. So I'm just going to put here where there's an opening, a little bit spray there. Sometimes it's hard to find an opening. You just have to come in at the side there, just get a drop in there. It spreads very vigorously, so I wouldn't worry. Right, this is also a good time to just clean these buttons. So I'm just cleaning them before I put them back. Just note when you are returning these, it's got a slit on the side and then there's a lip on the side. So just make sure that you put it in that orientation. Otherwise, if you put it in the other way, it's going to be too tight. So it's mono, mute, dim. All right, I'm just cleaning these while they're on. Right, I just test all the buttons are working nicely, and I've sprayed the contact cleaner into all of these potentiometers and then obviously all the switches. Now it's time to reinstall. Now while I have the unit open and all the knobs off, it's a good idea to just give it a nice clean. Just in case there's any dust inside here, I just blow it out. Right, now just to reinstall. If you've oversprayed a little bit and some of the contact cleaner is on the components nearby the potentiometer, you can just blow it, or you can take a toothbrush and just kind of move it along, or you can just let it dry. I seat the circuit board, I just check that everything is coming through nicely. I check that the buttons are able to press nicely, all the posts are seated nicely. Just make sure that when you seat the board, look at these LEDs, they are seating nicely, none of them are bent out of the way, and same as the running lights, they are all seated correctly. Right, it's looking almost like brand new, and now I can put in the screws. Right, so just be aware that this has a profile, so I'm just going to put it on something so it doesn't press on those knobs. I'm just going to put it on this. Right. All right, there's a little button over here, I'll just clean it as well. And if you want to, if you're finding that your contacts inside you are dirty, you can also spray a little bit of contact cleaner on these points over there. This is where the jack makes contact with the metallic contacts over here. So when you're plugging in your jack, these are touching onto the jack. So I just clean the surfaces there. So you can spray a little bit inside you if you want to. And this had 2 plastic washers like that. Right, so there are the 2 plastic washers on each side so that it's at the same profile as the board. Right, these don't have to be very tight. When you feel a bit of resistance, just do a 16th turn. And if you do want to clean these, what you can do is spray some contact cleaner on the surface of a jack and then all I do is that. So I'm getting the contact cleaner on the surface, and look at this, I'm rotating it, and I do that with all of these. I spray the contact cleaner on the surface here, and then I put it inside here and turn. And you can also do that with these connectors over here, or you can just spray inside, but you don't need to put a lot of the contact cleaner, it's just a drop. And now all you need to do is plug in these plugs, and I'll just wipe it clean. All right, just make sure everything is plugged in. I just wipe any dust that has formed on the surface, and I can return the cover. Washer and then the nut. Right, I'm just going to give all of this a bit of a wipe. Right, I just tighten this knob. Right, just check that all the knobs are put on correctly. Right, and now the unit is good as new. Right, so there's the volume control. It's now got smooth sound. There is no problem with the left and right. It is working perfectly. There's no crackling. Right, thanks for watching, and cheers.